What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. It is the 6th day of February, and here we are sitting at roughly $500, roughly 6.5 hours left in the day. We're up about 10.4%. We have seen a lower low, and I want to talk about what this means and why I'm not concerned with it, okay? First and foremost, the amount of volume that we've seen here in this little area has consistently been pretty damn good up until this point. Then we've just had a kind of vacancy in volume, a little bit more over the past couple of days, a little bit of volatility, but really there's a lot of volume on the way up. There's not a lot of volume on the way down. And even still today, even with this quote unquote breakout, there really wasn't that much volume on the breakout. There's a lot more volume on the way up than there is down. And I think that this breakout, especially with this reaction that we're seeing now, is a fake out. Fake outs are when you break a range and you make everybody think, oh my God, it's breaking, so we're going to go down now, time to sell. There's a class of traders called breakout traders. They trade this way. And it's successful sometimes it's not. You know, the best part about breakout trading is you can set really tight stop losses. Okay, so I sell here. If it comes back up above these highs, then I'll buy back in. And you take a little bit of a loss, but it's a way to protect yourself because the next time that happens, it probably works out. You know what I mean? Like it's all about statistics and it's about defending yourself at the end of the day. But I'm getting away from what I'm trying to say. This fake out, it's very important what we do from here. It's very, very important what we do from here because we do have a line that we found support at several times. And it's not just this line. It's not just this line here. And we'll go over that in a second, okay? I want to talk about this line. The very, very, very important line from all the way back in the beginning. We take this trend line here, okay? And I connect it right to that all-time high at 4,300. And then I bring it over here to the to the 2021 bull market high. Put it there. And you can see again, directly touching there, directly connected between these 2 points. This line to the right onwards is now just a continuation of the line that is connected these 2 points, okay? We keep going, and you can see that you found direct resistance there yet again. Direct resistance there yet again. A little bit of disrespect, but still. And then here, third time, third time's the charm, we broke through. And every time that we've interacted with this line afterwards, we have found support. I can delete this white line and you can see we have been finding support at this green line, and we just did actually find support right at that descending trend line there. We found direct support at it. The fact that we found direct support at it, the fact that this was a fake out and we're having this kind of reaction, those are all positives. Those are all very strong positives that lead me to the conclusion that we are in fact ready. The same conclusion that we've had, that we are ready to break out of this range. We're ready to break out of this range, which inevitably leads us to a breakout of, oops, if it would let me, that would have been good timing, but I just had it scrunched out the wrong way. Leads us to a breakout of this overall range here. I don't know why it wouldn't draw. This overall range, right? The fact that we're finding a strong reaction here compels me to believe that we are going to break out, but that's the key. That's the ticket. The last 2 times we found support here, we saw very sharp reactions from a low to a high in like a week's time, maybe like a week and a half. We pumped 30%. From a low here to a high, not the overall high, but just the high of the bounce, you pumped 27% in 2 days. What I'm looking for here is a equivalent or similar, if not stronger move. Ideally, a stronger move. What I want to see is a stronger move. Imagine you have a line, and it's like this, or it's like this, or it's like this, whatever the line might be. And you're coming up and you're finding support on it, and it's all fun and dandy. And you come back down and you find support on it, and it's pretty good. It's just not as good as the last one. And then you find support on it, and it's getting weaker and weaker. You would assume, and I would assume, that we break out. The weaker you get, the more likely you are to break out from this point here. So what I don't want to see, before I really get into what I do want to see, what I don't want to see is that we turn around from here, we find resistance at prior support, and we come back down to this line. There's a chance that if we do that, we could, double bottom, tweezer bottom, whatever, and come back up. But statistically speaking, the more we interact with this line, especially with weaker reactions, the more likely this line will break through. And I can't stress to you guys how much we do not want this line to break. No, we don't. We really don't. So here we are. We're up about 9.5% on the day, and that's nice so far. From the low to the high, we've pumped an overall total of about 19%. And that's good. That's nice. But again, we need something that's comparable to what we saw back here. That doesn't mean that we have to go up to these prices, though that would be nice. Okay, at least 27, maybe even at least like 25%, something around 530, 540 at a minimum. That would satisfy the needs, I think, of this being a robust bounce to give us that idea still that we will, in fact, break out of this range to the upside. Okay, we had a fake out to the downside. Things are looking good so far. The reaction's nice, but we've had multiple reactions here before. What I'd really like to see is a stronger reaction. Is not for us to find resistance here at this prior resistance, but maybe to push higher and find resistance at prior support, or find resistance here at prior resistance, something around $602 and $570. If we can get something that's notably a little bit larger than this, and again, it has to be on the bounce, not the overall move, but the bounce, just the bounce, the main meat of this bounce. If we can get a stronger reaction than what we had the last two times, that will be very compelling evidence, you guys, that we are ready to break out. And I do believe, and again, I'm going to delete all these lines. Maybe I'll leave the green line up because that took so much time to get through. I went through and I did it on the daily because if you do it on the monthly, the line, it's not quite at the same place. I know it looks like it is, but it's not at the same place. So it's more perfect if you do it on the daily. It's probably even more perfect if you do it on the 4 hour, but I'm not going to zoom out and zoom all the way back on the 4 hour. I still believe it's really weird. If you asked me this in 2022 or 2023, my past self would call my current self a desperate, hopeless bull for what I'm about to say, because it's really weird what I'm about to say. We're in really weird times, though. I simultaneously believe that Bitcoin is in a bear market, while also simultaneously believing Bitcoin Cash is still in a bull market and will see higher highs than it saw during this cycle so far. We still have yet to put in our highs for the cycle. We're in really weird times, guys. We didn't see the altcoin blow off top. We didn't see the altcoin rally a month after Bitcoin topped off. We didn't get any of that. Very, very minimal, not even close to reminiscing what we've seen in the past. It's not that I refuse to be bearish here. There are things that would make me bearish, and we've already gone over some of those things in this video. But the statistical probability, the chart that we have before us, it just seems too good to pass up. And I really do believe what we're going to see here, it's going to be interesting. Okay, it's going to be very interesting because, again, calling for higher prices in itself, that's one thing. But we're doing more than that. We're calling for a higher high on a macro scale. While Bitcoin's forming lower lows on a macro scale, Bitcoin Cash is going to be forming higher highs on a macro scale. That's so weird. That's so weird. And imagine in this time that Bitcoin Cash is, up in this area, we make this move, we break out. If this move comes to life, Bitcoin itself is probably not plummeting. It's probably moving up a little bit, but it's probably not going through the roof. We're probably not going to see new all-time highs for Bitcoin until 2027, maybe even 2028. Who knows? Every time we started a bear market, it was 2 years after the bear market low that we got above the high, or somewhere around there, right? 2 years from now would be 2028. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff, you guys. $70,900 right now. What's going to happen, in my opinion, is that Bitcoin moves up, right? We don't get to 80K, but we consolidate in this area, and then we press down. It's going to be interesting because Bitcoin will still be in a bear market, lower lows, lower highs, the whole shebang. Bitcoin Cash at that point will also pull back, and it'll probably pull back from a greater percentage standpoint. But it'll still be in a bull market. We'll still have a higher low. Even if we pulled all the way back here, we'd still have a higher macro low. What I'm getting at is this pullback for Bitcoin, this next pullback, the ultimate probably ending move of this bear market for Bitcoin, which will happen in months. It's not going to happen right now. It's probably going to happen Q3, Q4 of this year, I would think. Or that's when it ends at least. Will be the same move as this for Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin will be at the end of its bear market. Most cryptos will be at the end of their bear market, and Bitcoin Cash will just have a higher macro low. What I'm trying to forecast here is more than just this. Bitcoin Cash, guys, might undergo one of the longer or longest bull markets that we've ever seen in crypto's history, because if Bitcoin is ending its bear market and ready to go into a bull market, I have a hard time imagining Bitcoin Cash is going to suffer, especially when the circumstances given are we've broken out of a lifelong pattern. We've broken out of it while Bitcoin was in a bear market, and we've taken out our lower high dynamic. Now we have higher lows and higher highs on a dramatic macro scale. I think Bitcoin Cash is going to see one of the longer bull markets. I think it's going to skip its bear market entirely. And the reason why is because it hasn't really had a bull market. It hasn't really. And I think a lot of altcoins are like that. I think there's going to be various coins like Bitcoin Cash over the coming months that stand out from the rest of the pack. And those coins, mark my words, are the coins that you should long-term invest into. Coins like Zcash, maybe Litecoin, maybe Monero, Bitcoin Cash, probably Dogecoin. I'm not expecting Ethereum or Solana to put in new all-time highs. That's probably not going to happen. Or XRP. XRP, though, already had its moment like this. That's the thing. XRP already had its moment like this. So now it's consolidating, it's doing its thing. Now it's in the flow of Bitcoin. Man, 71.3K, that's beautiful. We're seeing a lot of volatility. I want to get away from the picture that I'm painting, and I just want to do some TA now. Okay. But yes, I very much do believe we're going to break out to the upside. No, I don't believe this is a problem. I will be more concerned. I will think it's a problem if this is all we get and we come back down here. I would be a little bit more concerned. Ultimately concerned once we break that trend line, though, to the downside, that green line that came in like this, right? I would ultimately be concerned if we broke that. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. We'll zoom out and we'll just do some general TA on this thing. So there's a lot of volume here at the low, but that's a very big wick. Very big wick, right? As you're moving lower, volume's dying off. You get to your actual low, very big spike in volume, and you totally reverse from there. This looks good. This looks really good. We haven't had a little volume because we're consolidating now, but I do think that we'll continue to move up. Bitcoin's up 13%. Bitcoin Cash is up 10%. The rest of the market's up 20%, 30%, almost 40% for the Zebekians. Hey, good for you guys. Look at you go. Look at you go. That's awesome. Who's got the biggest recovery? They probably dumped the most recently too, though. Everything's green. Everything's having a good day. Bitcoin Cash is actually having a lesser good day than a lot of cryptos right now. But again, the point of reference here, I would say, is November 21st. Like, where's the average altcoin right now compared to November 21st? Bitcoin compared to November 21st is down. The average altcoin compared to November 21st, because that was that pivotal moment. That was where we started to consolidate here for months, right? For a couple months there. Others. Let's see. Chicken scratch. November 21st for others was here. What? No, it wasn't. Well, I guess you're still below even where you were on December. November 21st would have been this week, that low. Everything's below. So Bitcoin Cash is recovering. 10% is a nice day, but when you compare it to the rest of the market, it's like, how come my coin's not pumping as hard? It's because it hasn't given up as much. It's because it's actually in a more bullish position right here. Don't get distracted, Dragon Riders, with the shiny objects in the sky, with your Onyx coin that's up 20%, although I love Onyx coin. With your KTA that's up 20%, I love KTA too. They're not twice as good as Bitcoin Cash, right? Zbec and Tel, they're having a day today, but man, they dumped a lot, right? Relevance matters. Think about it whenever you make your decisions. Don't just look at these numbers and be like, I got to get into the one that's up the most. That's the good one. No, because it's also the one that was probably down the most, or one of them that was. Bitcoin Cash here on the 1 hour time frame. RSI looks good. You rejected your overbought zone and now you're coming back up. That's good. Stochastic's finding support on the overbought zone. MACD looks like it wants to cross above the zero. All good things. 4 hour time frame here. The RSI is bearish overall, but you do have some bullish divergence there, which is probably largely why you're seeing this move. You are at an area where you have been finding resistance. You know, you've been finding resistance kind of here in this area for some time. Maybe it's even more like this. Let's see. Something like that. Like something like that, maybe a little bit higher. I don't know. We could be getting to a point where we find resistance, but with the 1 hour looking like it's about to get back overbought, bouncing off of this, crossing the zero, we're probably going to get a solid push. So even though we're only up 10.5% today, I wouldn't be surprised if we close higher than that by the end of the day. Stochastics suggests that we go higher. The MACD is about to cross. That's awesome. And the RSI, as bad as it looks overall, that bullish divergence, it might be enough where you can break through this, and then you're breaking out of your lower highs. Now you have higher lows and higher highs. That might be a good dynamic. Who knows? Maybe by the end of today or tomorrow, we're overbought and we're back above $560. Again, the idea here is that we're going to see a swift bounce of 30% ideally, somewhere there about 25, 30%, anything from 35% or more from the low point will be very encouraging. Again, why is it encouraging that we see a 35% or more bounce? Why would it be encouraging if we pumped even from these same levels that we bounced from before, pumping to these exact same prices that we pumped to before? Why would that be more exciting this time? Because this would be a 33% pump or larger. And that larger pump off of the same areas, that's the opposite of seeing a weaker pump at the same areas and expecting we go down. If it's the opposite, if it's a different behavior, a different thought, I would expect different results. Right? I'm making sense. I make sense to myself, man. I can talk to myself all day. I can convince myself that the world is a trapezoid if I really wanted to. But to me, it makes sense. To me, it makes sense. By the way, I think the earth is round, not flat. I don't know why everybody thinks the world is flat. We have calculus. We have physics. We have math. Nobody who thinks the world is flat probably knows calculus or can do basic physics. Maybe basic physics, but calculaic, would it be calculaic? Calculus-based equations in physics. I don't know. Like we can calculate. I don't even want to get into it. Anybody who thinks the world is flat, though, I disagree with you, but we can still be friends. I think you're silly, but we can still be friends. I'm silly. There's nothing wrong with it. But I don't even know where that came from. Daily time frame, though. Stochastics are ugly. The MACD is no prettier. RSI is nice. We got a little bullish divergence there. It's like a double bottom. When was the last time we had a double bottom? Right there. Right at our low, actually. We moved sideways for a bit. And maybe we do. I would love it if from here we had a sharp reaction that brought us back above $600. I mean, anything that takes us above $570, I'm going to be very excited if that happens. But inevitably, I do expect that we will, however it works, I do expect that we'll get up here once we get to this point of about 620 to 640, somewhere in there. I would expect that's when the real breakout happens. If I'm wrong, what it's going to look like then is we don't get too much higher from here. We reject, we come back down. We have a whole nother discussion to have, but I'm not going to have that discussion because I don't think, statistically speaking, that it's the probable outcome right now. Daily time frame indicators don't look good. Short-term stuff looks pretty good. Weekly time frame things do look good. Weekly RSI, we have a lower low. We're at the same area. Okay, I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not. I'm here, and my computer died, so I'm turning it back on. I'm going to stop it now, though. All right. I don't know if you can hear me. Take care. Bye-bye.